You know what's awesome, guys? That when you have a YouTube channel, you just choose the topic of any video you make and no one can tell you otherwise. So today I chose to make a video about masturbation because, man, I feel like we need to talk about that shit way more, because we all do it. I mean, we all masturbate, we all have orgasms, and yet for some reason it's just all these topics about giving ourselves pleasure, they're just suppressed. And if you don't masturbate, then I'm gonna give you a few really awesome reasons in a bit, so keep on watching. And if you do masturbate, take a second and think about the first time you did. Or just, you know, when you look back and you have these first memories of giving yourself some pleasure, of loving yourself. Yeah, I did this during yoga class this morning actually. And the memories that came up were, I was probably about, I'm just gonna take a wild guess. We had just moved into our new house, maybe 9, 10, 11 years old. This morning during yoga, I was thinking, should I share this? Is this too much? It's a bit embarrassing. We all have maybe, you know, a slightly embarrassing, very vulnerable memory of when we started masturbating. Because I feel what happened is, for a lot of us when we were kids, we were doing things and then we started to feel something down there, and then we would do them, you know, again and again, but we didn't really know what we were doing, right? And that's exactly what happened to me back then. I had these huge pillows on this couch in my room. They were quite long. They were like a body, you know? And so, I don't know how it happened exactly, but I just see myself in this memory now, kind of feeling something as I was like hugging it, you know? And then I guess I started humping the big huge pillow. Also, what I like doing, because I really wanted to be a boy when I grew up, I enjoyed pretending I had a penis. So I would put things in my underpants. Now this is getting very embarrassing, but I'm sharing it anyway. Stretching my comfort zone here a lot, just so you know. Anyway, so I put stuff in my underpants to make it look like I had more stuff, more junk down there. And then I also figured out if I left it in there and was doing my thing with that huge ass human pillow, it would make me feel really nice. And so those are my first memories of 9, 10-year-old Connie. Yeah. Anyway, so masturbation. I masturbated last night before I went to sleep. It was awesome. I've actually been masturbating quite a lot in the past month. I go through phases. You know, there's weeks where I masturbate a lot, and then there's weeks where I barely even think about it. It really depends on where I'm at in my life. If I'm going through emotional shit, I don't have a whole lot of, I guess, sexual capacity within my body, or I'm just not very connected to my sexual energies. And when I'm cruising through life, which is kind of what's been happening here in LA since I got to California a month or so ago, is, yeah, I'm just feeling my body. I'm feeling very sensual, very sexual. And also, you know, it really also depends on where I'm at in my cycle. So as I approach ovulation, you know, as a lot of you ladies know, we feel a lot hornier than we might feel before we get our period. So I'm actually about to get my period in maybe 5-6 days or so. So I can feel that my sexual vibe is slowly going down. So it definitely has to do with that as well. This whole entire year, actually, 2017, has been very much about reclaiming my sexual, sensual energies for myself. I don't want my orgasms to depend on outside factors. I want to be in control of my orgasms, and I want to be in control of how I feel and just how sexy I am as a woman. And I don't necessarily want to be dependent on a partner for that, because most of this year I was not dating. Different story now that I'm in LA, but anyway. And for most of this year, I was not sexually active with a partner. And so I also though realized that how beautiful it is to feel sensual, to feel sexual without a second person kind of facilitating those feelings. I can do this all by myself. So I started dancing naked in front of the mirror. I started sleeping naked in bed again. I started to consciously, mindfully masturbate more, meaning instead of just sort of thinking about having an orgasm and jerking off, these days I try to be a lot more connected to myself as I masturbate. Now, I mean, there's all these different ways to masturbate, and here's where we're getting into the technicalities of what I personally really enjoy. And this again has also, you know, changed and transformed throughout the years. There was a long time in my life where I used vibrators. I got my first vibrator actually when I was 15, I believe. It was my birthday. I went to high school in the States, and for a year, and my friends, that wasn't my birthday. It wasn't my birthday. What are you talking about, Conni? It was something else. Maybe it was my going away gift. Maybe, who knows? Anyway, my friends gave me a vibrator, a cute little travel vibrator. And I hadn't used something like that before. And I think I probably kept it somewhere for months before I actually unpacked it and looked at it and thought about actually using it. Once I started using it and these vibrations made me feel really, really nice, I was hooked. I was literally hooked. So yeah, vibrators for me were a big thing for quite a long time. Then I discovered the amazing vibrators by Fun Factory, probably still my favorite brand for vibrators, because here's what I don't like about vibrators, is that most of them, or dildos for that matter, they all look like a penis. Now, as you all know, I'm not straight. I have had sex with men, but I tend to not want things in my vagina that look like a dick anymore, so I don't want my vibrator nor my dildos or anything that I put into my vagina to look like a penis. And Fun Factory, for example, and this is by no means any advertisement for their brand, I just really happen to like their stuff because they don't look like penises. They kind of make their vibrators and dildos look like animals, like a dolphin or something. So anyway, vibrators, awesome stuff. However, over the last few years, I've also really gotten more into the habit of not having a vibrator, either because right now I don't even own one. So either because I was traveling and I forgot my vibrator at home, or it broke, and you know, I mean, things just happen when you're a nomad. And so now I haven't used a vibrator in quite a long time. And so I'm all about fingers, and I have come to be really good with my fingers, and by using my fingers I can be a lot more in contact with myself. I've really, over the last few years, I've really come to explore my own body deeper and deeper when I masturbate, and especially also the inside of myself, and things like my G-spot. I can give myself a really beautiful G-spot orgasm because I know exactly where that little part is in my vagina, that when I rub it and it feels a little bit different, that skin, that it gives me a really amazing, beautiful orgasm. I can give myself all 3 different kinds of orgasm: the vaginal orgasm, the clitoral orgasm, and the G-spot orgasm, and it's pretty amazing. And so just by knowing what I like, what I enjoy, by being so in touch with my own sexuality and masturbating regularly, I believe that the sex that I have with a partner has improved so much more. And I also can, you know, I'm probably a lot better with my partner, with the girl that I'm trying to please as well. And I mean, I would say that's one of the most important reasons to masturbate, is really to get in touch with yourself, to not just to love yourself and to really take care of yourself sexually, but to really, really have this relationship with yourself where you know what you like and where you like to be touched, and to be able to do that yourself, but also be able to communicate that to a partner. And it will make your sex life so much better. And I believe that even when you are in a relationship and you have regular sex with a partner, that you should still be masturbating and stay in touch with yourself and your body and your pussy and all of that. Huge. Anyway, there's so much to talk about when it comes to masturbation. I might actually have to do a series. But the last thing I want to talk about, for now anyway, is porn and using porn to get off. As a queer woman, I don't actually necessarily watch gay porn. I generally don't watch a whole lot of porn, to be honest. This is something I might do every few months, but you know, lesbian porn, no, I want to say lesbian mainstream porn is really such a turn off actually, because mostly these women, they're not lesbians. I can smell it from 5 miles away that those women that are going down on each other, they're pretending to be lesbians, but they're actually straight. Maybe they're a little bit bisexual or something, but it really doesn't turn me on at all. If anything, it needs to be, you know, proper, nice, queer, sex positive, feminist porn. There is beautiful porn out there, not a whole lot, but I can't do the mainstream stuff. If anything, actually, I'd rather watch straight people's porn. That turns me on way more than lesbian mainstream porn. I just can't do lesbian porn. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I'd rather do straight people's porn, heterosexual porn for some reason, but I don't watch it very much. I have really good fantasies from, can be ex-partners, it can be all sorts of memories, you know, it can just also be me not wanting to imagine anything as I masturbate, because if you really want to do it mindfully, consciously, if you really want to deeply connect with yourself, just be present with yourself. Don't even, you know, don't watch the porn, don't linger in all these fantasies that you might have, but really just be right here, feel into the sensations, be really, really present without, you know, fading off and ending up thinking about the laundry or what you're gonna eat or things like that, you know. So in and of itself, masturbation can be extremely meditative, because as you're doing it and you're coming closer to climaxing, and again, climaxing doesn't have to be the goal. At best, it's not the goal. And I have so much to say about orgasm and making it the priority when we have sex with ourselves or with partners. I have so much to say about tantric sex practices that open my eyes, my whole world up to really connecting with myself and my partners. And so, whoa, I can go on and on and on. I'm feeling more videos about all of this coming up very soon. Awesome, I'm excited. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video right here, and I'd love if you guys shared some of your preferences, experiences, maybe, you know, when did you start masturbating? What's your memory of when you discovered it? Or just generally, do you use vibrators? What about porn? Maybe you've got some cool, queer, sex positive, feminist porn recommendations. Please put them in the comments. I'd love to check them out. And other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Oh, what a pleasure talking about masturbation was. To loving ourselves and our bodies more, to masturbation. Yeah, let's do it a lot more. I might just do, and you know, maybe, anyway. Okay, bye. Mwah.